Good evening, my Real News Media TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update. And in the news this evening, opposition rejects the explanation given for a spike in neonatal deaths at a VJH. Opposition spokesman on health, Dr. Alfred Dawes, has rejected the Southeast Regional Health Authority's explanation that prematurity was the cause of increased neonatal deaths at the Victoria Jubilee Hospital in Kingston since June 1. Following reports that 24 newborns have died at the hospital this month, the authority which oversees the hospital said data collection indicates that the majority of the affected babies were born prematurely with significant factors that could have predisposed to serious illness. In a media release on Friday morning, Dawes said the explanation was unacceptable as prematurity is a medical condition, not a cause of death. Dawes said the deaths point to a deeper systemic failure in care for newborns. Victoria Jubilee continues to suffer from overcrowding, understaffing, and outdated infrastructure. There is a chronic lack of essential resources, including cooling blankets, ventilators, and proper nutrition for neonates. These deficiencies, combined with inadequate staffing, compromise the hospital's ability to manage high-risk pregnancies and provide life-saving neonatal care, he stated. Dawes also said reports indicate 229 neonatal deaths at the hospital between October 2023 and June 2025. He is urging the Minister of Health, Dr. Christopher Tufton, to state whether these figures are accurate and release the full mortality data from 2020 to present. Jamaica's maternal mortality rate is now higher than it was 30 years ago. Combined with a spike in neonatal deaths, this reflects a public health system in crisis, he said. Dawes said Tufton must answer the following. How many neonatal deaths have occurred at the VJH annually over the past 5 years? What has been done to improve outcomes? What budget was allocated to neonatal care? Was there a breakdown in infection control? Why was the public not informed sooner? The Southeast Regional Health Authority has stated that there was no outbreak of an infection at the Victoria Jubilee, but that there had been a notable increase in admissions to the special care nursery when compared to both the previous months and the same period last year. This increase reportedly brought with it a higher number of critically ill infants, many of whom were born prematurely or with low birth weight. The authority added that it activated its search plan and took all appropriate steps to care for the babies. Chicken booked for murder after being almost cooked by mob in Hanover. 27-year-old Kemar Gale, otherwise called the Chicken, of Orange Bay District, Hanover, has been charged with murder following an incident in his community on Saturday, June 21. Dead is 60-year-old Roy Donaldson, otherwise called the June. From the Lucy police are that about 3:30 p.m., Donaldson was standing on the Orange Bay Main Road when he was approached by a man who shoved him. It is reported that the man left the scene but later returned with a piece of wood, which he used to hit Donaldson to his chest. The man then fled the scene on foot but was subsequently held and beaten by a mob. The police were summoned to the scene, and on their arrival, Donaldson was seen lying on the roadway. Both Donaldson and the injured suspect were transported to a hospital, where Donaldson was pronounced dead and the suspect was admitted under police guard. On Wednesday, June 25, Gale was charged with the offense after being interviewed and witness statements were recorded. His court date is being finalized. JCF constable charged in non-fatal shooting of taxi operator. A police constable has been charged in connection with the non-fatal shooting of a taxi operator in Maranta Bay, St. Thomas. The JCF member, Denmar Johnson, appeared before the St. Thomas Parish Court, where he was formally charged with wounding with intent. The incident occurred on August 12, 2024, in the wharf area of Maranta Bay. According to Constable Johnson, he discharged his firearm after the taxi operator allegedly pulled a machete and attacked him during a confrontation. However, the Independent Commission of Investigations reported that no weapon was recovered at the scene, and the eyewitness account contradicted the officer's version of events. Following an investigation by Indicom, the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions ruled that Constable Johnson should be charged. He was granted bail in the sum of $450,000 with one of two sureties and is required to report as part of his bail conditions. The case is set for mention again on September 19, 2025. So far in 2025, 8 officers, including 7 JCF officers and 1 from the Department of Correctional Services, have been charged in connection with the cases investigated by Indicom. These relate to both the fatal and non-fatal shootings as well as assault incidents. In 2024, a total of 28 officers were charged, 24 from the JCF, 3 from the DCS, and 1 from the Jamaica Defense Force. Since 2024, 36 law enforcement officers have been charged following Indicom investigations. NEPA admits a need for greater use of technology to conduct sampling. Chief Executive Officer of the National Environment and Planning Agency, Leonard Francis, says the agency has proposed the use of technology to assist in collecting samples. Mr. Francis also admitted that NEPA's enforcement arm needs to step up its efforts. NEPA held a news conference Thursday morning amid outrage over its handling of a failed pollution case against the distribution and manufacturing firm Westinco Group. Director of Public Prosecutions, Paula Llewellyn, had explained that the case against Westinco collapsed due to a lack of evidentiary material. But Mr. Francis, while explaining that the pipeline was positioned high off the ground and the area below was inaccessible, said this limited NEPA's ability to collect a sample. He said the agency is exploring alternative methods to conduct sampling.
We have actually been looking on having automatic online monitors within the rail cobra itself, and that is part of what we were pursuing. So we are saying, one, we want to use the drone, we want to have automatic monitors that would give you real-time data from there. And we'll be looking on also using a system of cameras and using satellite imagery to help us as well. So that's where we are trying to go, because it's not only the real cobra, which has very steep banks, unstable slopes, every vegetation. We have issues elsewhere in the country as well. So we do have drones, but these drones can only take pictures. We want drones that can actually take samples and that. And we want to have online monitoring system actually in the river itself. For probably 3 months, we are saying that in a 3-month span, we're saying that we need to test from within the facilities themselves and not only effluent that goes through the sewage treatment plants. We're also proposing that we could actually have discussions with the stakeholders and the regulators in looking on the possibilities of administrative penalties once there's any substance being put in the river from any breakage or pipelines.
Thank you everyone for watching. See you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. for another news update.